Hi guys, it's Bob here again for the Bob and Ramon show, flying without Ramon, but with his permission, thank goodness. He's off on a bender, so I'm doing it by myself. I wanted to do a quick video today about two pieces of gear that I've got here. One is on loan and the other is a recent purchase. So let's do the loaner first. It's what I'm holding. You might have seen it in a previous video that Ramon and I did. And in fact a couple of previous videos, because we featured the maker, Darren Horton of Daniel's Guitars, a few months ago. Darren has lent this guitar to Ramon for a couple of weeks over Christmas, and Ramon's left it here for a few days. So I'm playing it to death. I liked it when I met it before, but I only met it for about 15 minutes. Whereas now I've had a chance to really play it and all the rest of it. And it's a really nice guitar. But the real reason I want to feature it today is, if you can see, it's got an unusual blend of pickups. Let me describe the guitar to you. It's a sort of Les Paul shape to look at the front, but the top is flat, and the top's a rather nicely figured piece of, I think it's ash, but Darren will correct me in the comments. Nicely figured piece of ash in a lovely vintage brown to yellow sunburst. It's got a Telecaster control plate with two metal dome knobs and a 3-position switch. The 3-position switch is at an angle, which is really clever. And it's got a little top hat button on it, which I like the feel of. A little decorative pick guard here, stop tailpiece, a Mojo humbucker in the bridge position, and a Mojo P90 in a nickel cover in the neck position. A neck that resembles a mid-50s Les Paul in profile and feel. And that's not really surprising, because it's sort of based on the measurements taken from one or two of mine. So no surprise there, but it's really nicely made. The fretwork is unbelievable, it's fantastic. The frets are gorgeous, medium-sized frets, you know, more modern frets, not 50s frets. Really easy to bend and play and so on. Headstock is, of course, Daniel's Guitar's own design, and 3-a-side tulip head single ring Clusen or Clusen-alike tuning pegs, and that's the guitar. Let's have a look at the back. There's a couple of things going on at the back as well. As you can see, I'm dicing with death on the yoga ball as usual, getting my knickers in a twist with the cable. You might be able to see, if I move it around in the light, you might be able to see down here. You can just about see it there. There's a cutaway for the body, tummy cut. Which makes the guitar really comfortable, and the neck join is extraordinary. The neck is really it's a glued-in neck. I can see that because I can see the profile of the wood, but it's really smoothly chamfered, and there's lots of upper access here, much more than you'd get with a guitar with a heel, like a Les Paul or a PRS or something. It's really sculpted away here, which makes it really interesting to feel. At the first, it feels quite weird, and then it gets a bit. You know, you think, oh, this is great. You know, you can really hit the high notes all the way up here, which is fantastic. A bit like a Firebird, where, you know, you can reach all the way up here with no problem. Materials, it looks to me like the body and the neck are made of mahogany, and it certainly sounds like it's made of mahogany. It's quite a warm guitar. But as I say, the most interesting thing of all is that this guitar is unusual because it's got a P90 and a humbucker. And they make a really good combination. But just have a quick listen. I'm just playing through a cable into an amp, and I'll talk about the amp in a second. That's the neck P90. It's a really lovely pickup. It's nice and warm. It's got lots of detail and everything. And it overdrives nicely and everything is terrific. If I switch to the bridge humbucker, you can hear straight away it's a much more humbuckery sound. It's quite easy to get the kind of Danny Kerwin sound out of it. It's quite shouty. I would have to say, of these two pickups, I mean, I've got to aim off for the fact one's in a different position to the other one, but of these two pickups, I definitely prefer the sound of the P90. There's no question. I've never had a guitar with the two pickups on, and I'd love to have this guitar with these two pickups reversed, so I could confirm that, and it's not just the position of the pickup, but the sound of the pickup. But I really prefer the sound of the P90. The volume difference between the two pickups is not much. Neck and bridge, not much difference in volume. You could probably adjust the relative volume slightly by raising and lowering the pickups a little bit. You could probably, if you fancied it, but not much difference. I just think it's a really interesting guitar. It sounds great cranked up. It sounds great loud. It's a terrific guitar. For my money, I mean, as you know, I live with some really nice old vintage guitars, and I think that Darren gets closer to the feel and vibe of those guitars than any other maker I've come across. A number of my friends have got, you know, various very celebrated Les Paul knockoffs and stuff like that, and I've come across one or two that are quite good, but most of them don't really make the cut for me at all, to the point that I actually end up kind of offending my friends, so I keep my mouth shut. Some of these guitars that Darren makes are this neck is very convincing. The only thing that's wrong with this neck is that the guitar's new and the finish hasn't worn yet. Well, that's not Darren's fault, and that's not the guitar's fault, that's time's fault. But if I imagine this guitar, you know, after being used in you know, good hands for like maybe 5 or 6 years, and a bit of wear on this neck, wow, just wow. Big, fantastic guitar. So, well worth checking it out. I'll put some details of the website in the super on this video as I go. So, that's part one of this video. Part two is the amp I'm playing through. It's called a Fender Excelsior. It's part of their pawn shop range, and it was introduced, I think, in about 2012, 2013, something like that, so about 10 years old. I'd never heard of one, and I was out at the jam with my two good friends, Jake and Artie Zeitz, in London, and they had two of these amplifiers on stage. I took my turn, and at the end of the evening, I thought, God, what have I been drinking tonight? I sound really good, you know? Much better than usual. And you know, when you go to these jams, I mean, you might have seen my Facebook post recently. I mean, most of the stuff you have to play through at these jams is filthy. When you go to a jam that's got good amps, it's unusual. But on the way home, I found myself kind of thinking, you know, was it the guitar? Have I been doing more practice? Is it me? I came to the conclusion, no, don't flatter yourself, mate. That was a nice amp. So I looked up on Reverb and I found one of my own, that was a couple of hours drive from where I am, but I could go and see a friend at the same time. And I picked this up in the west of England. I'll tell you what it cost me. It cost me 270 quid. Which, you know, compared to the money that I drop on stuff is not very much at all. And I brought it home, and I played it, and I just couldn't believe it. It was just as good as I remembered it. It was absolutely fantastic. It's very basic. It has a volume control. It's got another rotary knob for the tremolo, which is a click to turn it on, and then it's just a rate control. So I'll just play you what the trem sounds like. So the trem's really nice and roomy. I'll put it halfway. So. So that's a bit of trem, and you've got a fair amount of range in terms of rate, from pretty slow to pretty quick. The nicest thing about this amp, it's got a 15-inch speaker in it, made by Eminence. Nothing flashy, it's a cheapish speaker. It's very nice sounding. And the amp's 13 watts, two 6v6 valves in near class A, which probably means more to you than it does to me, but apparently that's good. I mean, that's about it. It's a funny old thing. It's again, I'm sitting on top of it, but I mean, I'll put some pictures up as I'm talking. It's an MDF box. It's quite heavy. It's very retro styled. It's covered in a thin sort of beigeish flesh-coloured vinyl, and that was the third colour of three. There was a seafoam, a surf green, a pale green. There was like a kind of sky blue, sort of Daphne blue type colour. And then there's this sort of beigey, creamy, nondescript thing. It's got, I don't know whether the speaker cloth's original, it's that kind of oxblood cloth that you get on tweed amps, but it's got that kind of cloth on it. And the preamp components of the amp are in a box at the top, and the power amp, and the transformers, and the power supply, and the on-off switch are in a box at the bottom inside the amp. So the amp's in 2 bits. It's got nothing else, hasn't got reverb, hasn't got anything. And when I bought it, it had, apart from the 2 knobs I've described, it had a switch in the middle, dark and bright. That was it, that was your tone control. I went online and I found out there's a modification you can do for the cost of one 500k potentiometer and 1 plastic knob, both of which I had in my bits box. So I went inside, I unsoldered 3 connections and soldered those 3 connections in exactly the same order, in the same place, to this potentiometer. I had to file the slot for the switch out very, very slightly to take the shaft of the potentiometer, screwed it on tight, put a knob on top. Again, I'll show a picture of it. And so I've now got a tone control on the amp. And it's really, really useful because the amp, you wouldn't want to use it at full dark or full bright much. But basically, if you're using it with a Fender, with a Strat or a Telly, you'll want the tone control in the, the lower third of its range. If you're using it with a Gibson style guitar, P90s, humbucker, you probably want the tone control somewhere beyond midday, probably about 2 o'clock, something like that. As with most amps, the tone control also has some influence on the gain. And this amp goes into overdrive at around about 1 o'clock, and the overdrive is really, really nice. I might overload the phone when I record this because I'm only recording on a single phone today, but let me try and just give you a taste of the overdrive setting. Here we go, let's try this. So I hope that you can hear this amp's got a very, very sweet overdrive. In fact, it's sweet on clean. It seems to grip onto the notes on the guitar really well. It likes tellies, it likes Strats, it likes my Music Man Albert Lee, it likes Les Pauls, it loves the 54 Gold Top, loves it. It likes this Daniels guitar, it likes my Rickenbacker 12 string, it likes my Gretsch Duojet. It's fantastic. And it's cheap. And at 13 watts with this speaker, I think, I've gigged it once, as well as gigging at the jams, and it's a perfect volume for being able to play on the volume control and get into a sweet overdrive. Unless you've got a really heavy duty drummer, this amp is going to get you a great sound in a single box, really simple. It's not going to piss off the rest of the band, it's not going to piss off the sound engineer. It's just getting better and better. It's getting better and better. So I thought I'd just share it with you. Maybe because I've been blethering on a bit on the forums and stuff recently, the price of these Excelsiors seems to have taken a little lift as a result of my enthusiasm. I don't think this video is going to do anything to help. They seem to be going for more like sort of mid 300s now. But I would have to say, I'm sitting in my usual room here with a pile of, very heavyweight, beautiful amps, which I still love, but I'm playing this Excelsior amp a lot, and that says something. If it was a piece of poop, A, I wouldn't have bought it, and B, I certainly wouldn't spend the time that I am with it. It's small, it's portable, it's a little bit heavy because the MDF, it is a bit heavy, I grant you that, but it's only 1 box, so you can actually, you can get up a flight of stairs with a small pedal board and the guitar in one hand, this amp in another hand. It's one journey from the car, if you're gigging and stuff like that. So it's quite something. And so far, I've tried recording it a bit, and it sounds pretty good. The only limitations are that I'm lousy at miking up amps. I'm trying to learn. And so it could sound a lot better. But in the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing, this amp's really going to sound good. So there you have it. Quick, fast and dirty video. Hope you don't mind the fact that we haven't done the lighting and done the sound today. This is a quick and cheap video, and all due apologies for that. So the Daniels guitar, and down there behind me, the Fender Excelsior amp. Highly recommended. So there you go. All the best. Keep watching, please. Back next time with Ramon. But until next time, cheers.